/ the daily drive. And coming back from a mini vacation in Utah, just thought I'd do a little bit of a short light video. I wanted to share some handyman experiences with some people that have worked with me in the past. I just kind of wanted to share a couple stories. So the first story, some funny, some not so funny. So I had an individual, working with me. He had worked with me for a long time. He was a little bit older, and we were doing a painting job, and we were working over a koi pond, and we had planked this, system over the kind of a bridge over the pond so that we could set ladders and we could get access to the areas that we needed. And I asked him to let the younger guys work on the planks, and that are a little more agile. And I left to get materials, and I get a call, probably about 30 minutes later, and it was this guy calling me frantic because he wanted to prove me wrong and that he was still young enough and could get the job done. So he decided to get on these planks, and in the process, I guess stumbled and ended up knocking a gallon of paint over into the koi pond. So when I get back to the job, they're frantically, trying to keep the paint away from the fish, and the paint, you could see it kind of just like clouds billowing in the water, and they're going like towards the fish, and they're with buckets trying to scoop out this paint. And we ended up having to call in a professional, and they pulled the fish out and cleaned the system and everything, and happy to report that no fish was harmed during this incident. But it was a scary moment. This same person, years prior, when age had nothing to do with it, on a job we were also doing a painting job, and we were done, and he was going to put the paint in the garage. So he puts the paint down in front of the garage door, goes around into the house and opens the garage door. The garage door opens up, hits the paint cans, 2 gallons of paint pour over. One of them opens up, the can opens, and paint all over the driveway. So he's out there with rags and water and putty knives, picking up paint, and having to clean the driveway. But because he put the cans up against the garage door, I would say probably the craziest thing anyone's ever done, or as far as just the strangest thing. So I hired a guy, and it was within the first week that he was working with me. So he was working with me, and I was training him. And so we go on a job together, and we're on a job where it's a big house, big property. We're in Beverly Hills, and I'm behind the house, and he's supposed to be there helping me. I forget what we were doing, but he disappears, and I'm thinking maybe he went to the restroom. I don't know. I go around looking for him, and I see the hood of my truck popped up, and this guy is under the hood of my truck checking my oil. And I go up to him, I'm like, what are you doing? He says, oh, I just thought I would check your oil. And I said, well, first of all, you're supposed to be around, helping me on this job. And I said, and second of all, there's things you don't do. You never touch a man's truck. There's certain things: radio, hat, and a truck. You just keep your hands off of those things. So the same guy, I did let him, gave him a pass on that one. Just told him to keep his hands out of my trucks unless I ask him to. But the same guy on another job, you know, probably a week later, the final straw was him disappearing and then finding him taking a nap. He was just, you know, took a nap just in the middle of work, and, you know, just decided to lay down under a tree. So anyway, I think that just kind of went with him. I would say the most dangerous thing that I've come across, or people just not thinking, is, you know, you've got guys that, you know, it's hard to find somebody that's dedicated enough to finish the job prior to lunch, or finish the job prior to going home, not keeping track of, you know, their tools, or making sure everything is put away, and making sure everything is safe on a job site. And you know, doing a job, and, you know, a lot of times, you know, you find, like, a guy went to lunch, and he's, you know, if he's painting, he, like, stops in the middle of a paint line, because, you know, he's just there, he's just working by the hour. So it's like, you know, the whistle blows off or whatever, and, you know, lunchtime, and they go. But the thing that causes is, you know, sometimes people are careless. And I had a situation where we were working. I had a guy working on a tall ladder, and he finished his shift and, you know, decided to pick up and go home. The next morning, I climb up this ladder to check his work, and as I'm going up the ladder, the hammer that he left on top of the ladder falls and starts skipping down the steps, and, like, catches me and, like, hits me in the head. And you know, and that was just basically just careless, and somebody just not, you know, not paying attention to what they're doing, and, you know, leaving tools on top of a ladder. So you know, from then forward, I always thought it was, you know, that every tool should be accounted for at the end of the day, especially when you work in residential, and you've got, you don't know who's going to be there during, you know, when you're not there. So those were, you know, a couple things I wanted to share. And so we're just heading back to Cali from Utah, and I started the video in these canyons that I thought on the way there was pretty unique and pretty cool. So I hope you were able to see something in the background. Back to work tomorrow. So happy home repairs. This was Flash of the Daily Drive. Take care.